Dan Huckins here from Danbury Senior Living. Virtually all of us have a story during this pandemic of how it's affected our lives. I think it's put a fairly deep mark on all of us, but probably none more than our senior citizens. For those who are part of Danbury Senior Living and senior living organizations and buildings across the country, they've stayed for months inside the building or even inside their apartments, homebound, and unable to receive visitors. So it's hard to know what happens inside these buildings. Well, allow me to give you a glimpse inside so you can see just how our seniors, our residents, are thriving. You can imagine how this time of a pandemic has been a struggle for our families. They went months where they've not been able to see their loved one, not able to visit. And how painful it's been to miss birthdays or miss Father's Day or Mother's Day or holidays or some other important time in their loved one's life. Not being able to see their parent or their spouse or their grandma or their grandpa. But for the most part, they understand that this has been a necessary precaution.
My husband passed 14 years ago, and I thought I'd stay in my house forever. And that changed. I couldn't stay in St. Louis, so Mike brought me up to Ohio, and I was with them quite a long time, and then I moved in.
She had struggled with her health and not taking good care of herself when she was at home. She'd remember to take her medicine, but when she didn't feel well, she wouldn't take herself to the doctor when she needed to go. And that's how she ended up in the hospital with pneumonia before she came here.
Quite honestly, we had been looking for some time and really had pretty much decided that this is an environment that is probably as closest to home as you can get. You know, you try to get as close as you can, and I feel like this environment, especially that they were able to let her go in whatever room she wanted to and give her the amount of care that she needed.
She says she'd much rather be at home, but she says that and then she says, I know I can't be there and I need to be here.
How do you feel like they've handled COVID in here?
Oh, I think they were terrific. They really have gone above and beyond.
Knowing that she's here gives me comfort because I know they'll take care of her. But knowing that she's high risk and that even spending time with me could hurt her, because I don't know if I've been in touch with someone. Everything they've done has given me great comfort to know that this is a place where my aunt would be safe. I don't have to worry about her health here at all.
Being in community with others is so important for all of us. We were created for that. We were created to live in community. We were created to be in relationship with other people. And many seniors don't realize how being alone can affect them physically and emotionally. So one of the questions that we asked from the very beginning of this pandemic is, how do we keep our residents safe and healthy, and at the same time keep them connected? Not a lot of easy answers for that. And so we tried many different things. One thing we did was technology. They were able to connect with their loved ones through Skype or Zoom or social media. We even have a YouTube channel now for that same purpose.
Learning about COVID and the risks that my mom would be under was very scary to all of us children. We ended up moving her here because the staff seemed to be so knowledgeable and good about taking care of and knowing, what were the proper steps. They kept up with what was important to do and not do. When we got the word that there was someone that it was an employee, I believe, that was tested positive for the COVID, and that Mom was in the area where that worker was, we were a little nervous. They did a COVID test on her immediately to make sure, and it came back negative. Having that knowledge that they're taking great care of her, that if there's any issue, they're on the phone with me immediately.
When you're dealing with a population that's more seasoned than the rest of the population, I think it's wonderful that they do all the crafts and the interactions that they do, and the imagination that the staff has to do something new and different and to be able to share that again on social media and whatever. I'm sure the wine carts coming around on Friday afternoons are a big hit. So.
When we moved her in, we weren't allowed to come in because of the COVID, so we had to rely on staff to set things up, and that went phenomenal. The people here put things together. They built day beds, they did all kinds of stuff to get her in and situated in her apartment.
I had a laugh out loud moment when I heard about one of our 100 plus years resident who said this about the pandemic. She says, "I've been through worse." Surely this is the greatest generation. This generation has been through earlier pandemics. They've been through economic depression. They've been through world wars. They've been through drought. They've been through storms. They've raised grandchildren. They fought and they've won battles. And so they are worthy of our love and our care.
They paid attention to detail, like where was your mom's clock before? Where would her clock need to be? Just little things that made it a big difference.
I mean, they all know the names. I mean, it's not just walking down the hall and go, "What do you want?" They're just always smiling, always happy. And I think that they know the names is so important.
Chris, the director, you can just tell the team she's pulled around herself, that she wants them to treat everyone here like family, and not just within the building, but their family and friends that are a part of their lives.
Yeah.
And you can just feel that, and you know that they care about the people who live here, that they're not just residents in a room number.
Again, I think it's as close to home as you can get, and that's why we picked it.